ONYX Storm Theory coming up, full spoilers. Keep scrolling if you have not finished reading the book. In terms of Xaden's new brother, we've talked about Panchek, we've talked about Bodhi, it's time to talk about Garrick. So our first determining factor is that the new brother has known about Xaden and his venonness for 5 months. That's Garrick and Bodhi, right? On page, factual text evidence that is only Garrick and Bodhi. We've talked about Bodhi, but Garrick has been the one who has really been side by side with Xaden throughout this whole experience. He's his buddy, right? They're always assigned together on their missions, on their tasks to outposts. Garrick was also on Quest Squad in ONYX Storm, where Bodhi wasn't. So in terms of who has been like really witnessing Xaden, like stumbling firsthand, Garrick definitely wins that side of this evidence. And then at the end of ONYX Storm, we know from Imogen's POV that Garrick is literally on the verge of burnout. So Garrick's motive would have been also like he turned for the greater good of the people to save everyone. And there's a very sus quote in Imogen's chapter as well, where the color around the stone near Imogen starts paling. She is in a staircase and she's watching as the stones begin to pale and then lose their color one by one, each loss higher than the last, which seems very venom-y. And then jump scare, Garrick appears a few sentences later. So is he draining the stone? This is sort of explained away again a couple sentences later when Garrick says there's half a dozen of them with their hands on the city walls draining the life out of stone. It's time to go. And then immediately after this, Imogen actually looks into Garrick's eyes, his hazel gaze locking on mine and filling with so much misery and so much sympathy. So we get a pretty close look at his eyes, and I feel like Imogen would have noticed if there were red rings there. So this really disproves that this moment would have been the point where Garrick turned. On the next page, we get even more of a description of Garrick. We have circles underneath the eyes, we have a weird skin color, but all of these things could point to Garrick just being tired, right? Like there's nothing overly venom about this. But the question is now, did Garrick turn after this point? Because Garrick says it's still not enough. I can't. And then he strides through the door. And then his last quote of the book, I can't walk again. Even if I made it to Orisha, I'd never be strong enough to get back. And then he's just like, I need to find a way to do something. So could he have really been desperate enough at this point to turn venom? And then similar to my one issue with Bodhi being in the city square and the new brother in Xaden's chapter being south of the city, Garrick's a distance wielder. So he could go anywhere. He's the only one that could just like go to that canyon south of the city in a blink of an eye. And that's another point for Garrick. He could just like winnow over there. He's also, other than Xaden, the only character who is literally just mentioned by name in that last chapter as one of the missing riders. Is he the new brother? Is that why he's missing? Or is he missing because he is on the quest to do something else? Because there are 4 riders missing in total. One is Xaden, one is Garrick. Who are the 2 other ones? So that's basically the canon text describing like Garrick's adventures at the end of ONYX Storm. What do you think? Do you think he is the venom? Because in my mind, I feel like Bodhi is the higher candidate, but we're also going to explore a few other characters that could be options. So stay tuned.